Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Week 10 materials, Unit 10, which is Coordinates and AutoCAD, Coordinate Systems. Over in your course pack, you might want to take a quick look over there. As we get started, we will be using the material in the course pack quite extensively while we're working and lecturing today. The idea is we're going to talk about using coordinates to create and modify geometry. We're going to talk about the three coordinate systems in AutoCAD, and we'll be also talking or reviewing some information about plotting drawings in AutoCAD. So that's where we're headed for the lecture for the week. We have some questions we'll be considering, and these are things that you might even already know the answer to based on last week's lecture. So, do you know when eyeballing it or guesstimating while you're drawing is acceptable when you're drawing things in AutoCAD? Now we learned about snap mode last week, which allows us to draw and connect things to the grid. But you know, snap mode is not the best way to draw things. So hopefully by the end of today you'll understand why snap mode is not the best way to create precision drawings. We have points in space that determine where the start and end point of a line or an arc might be, or at the center point in the radius of the circle might be. So how are those points specified in AutoCAD? What's that little XY icon in the bottom left corner of the screen mean? And what are the three coordinate systems we'll be using? Under what circumstances would you use relative coordinates? And how are angles measured using polar coordinates? Alright, so this is one of the handouts we're using. Additionally, I'd like you to make a little cheat sheet as we're working. Coordinates in AutoCAD, and we're going to talk about those three systems and really detail them out. So when you have to use them, you'll have some paperwork to look back on, some notes. Alright, so here we are, and we're over at AutoCAD. Now, before you begin, please make sure AutoCAD is set and ready to work. And what do I mean by that? Well, there were some things we did last time that you might need to do again. This will always happen at the campus, at the Bakersfield College campus, because every night the computers get reset and they forget your settings from the day before. Now, you might not have to do this on your home computer. If your home computer doesn't go into deep freeze every night, then you probably don't need to make these adjustments every single time. But you know, if you go to a different computer, you'll probably need to do this, so it's not a bad thing to review. First thing we want to do is we're going to go down to the bottom right corner of the screen. We're going to click on the customization hamburger. And what that lets us do is it lets us open up all the tools down on the status bar. So now if the tool has a check in front of it, well, then we know the tool is visible. But if it doesn't, we want to click on it. And that puts a check by the tool. And then what we'll see down the bottom of the screen is we'll see the tools on the status bar getting longer and longer and longer as all those tools become visible. Okay, and there's a little elevator bar there. We might have to go way down. There's several tools that you can't see easily. And now if we take a look, wow, this status bar is completely tricked out. We've got every one of the tools that AutoCAD has available for drawing aids. And now our second job, of course, is to turn off things that we haven't used before or things that we're not sure what they do. Right, so we've never used these tools. I've never told you what any of them do. In the last class, you know, we did use the grid. So you can leave the grid on if you want. And in the last class, we used the snap, right? Snap mode. And you learned that tools that have a little black arrow or a little white arrow next to them mean that there are more things underneath that button. So here, we're able to go into the settings for snap and adjust the grid and snap settings. Well, I don't want you getting too worked up about that today because we're not going to work with grid or snap. In fact, we're going to talk about why grid and snap, it's accurate, but it's not really a great way to draw things. Okay, so you can leave the grid on if you want, but let's do this. Let's turn off snap mode. Okay, so now my tool bar down here with the status bar tools all visible. Second thing we want to do is we want to grab the command line, if it's tiny like this, and smash it down to the bottom of the screen so it fills the whole bottom of the screen. And then we want to grab the top edge and pull it up so you can see a couple of lines of text. Alright, and then this is the point where we'd say, okay, I'm ready to work. Okay, I know which tools are on. I can see the command line, AutoCAD can talk to me, and I can talk back to it. So let's talk a little bit about why working with snap mode is not the best way to draw things.